After finding out my roommate was using my photos to catfish the campus belle online, I decided to play along instead of exposing him. So when he chickened out of meeting her in person for the third time, I set up a date with my top donator, Zhao Shuer, because she actually happens to be the campus belle's childhood bestie. Best friends always scope out each other's guys. Sure enough, Zhao Shuer excitedly tells Baya that her streamer wants to meet up. She asks Baya what she should wear to the date, which instantly freezes the smile on Baya's face after her own rejection. Baya can't believe it. How long have they even known each other for him to ask her out? She warns her to be careful in case it's a total scam. But Zhao Shuer just waves her off, saying she was the one who asked. She asked him his location, and when he said S-City, she immediately told him she had a friend visiting the area this very weekend. One thing led to another. And boom, they agreed to hook up over the weekend. Watching her best friend act so incredibly giddy and excited, Baya can't help but feel a massive wave of jealousy. After all, she has been dating AZ for ages, yet he's completely rejected her request to meet 3 straight times. But get this, Zhao Shuer barely knows streamer Han, and they're already meeting. You'd be comparing yourself too, right? It makes her feel like she's just not as attractive as her bestie. Or maybe this streamer guy is just incredibly shallow. Coughing awkwardly, Baya warns her that guys like that are usually just looking for some rich sugar mommy to support them. Zhao Shuer snaps back that she has plenty of money and loves spending it on him. It's not a sugar baby thing. She calls it a match made in heaven since he needs cash and she has it. Honestly, Baya can barely even look at her. If they hadn't been childhood friends, she would have washed her hands of this whole crazy situation a long time ago. When she asks for the streamer's name, Zhao Shuer immediately tenses up and gives her a highly suspicious look. She nervously asks Baya what she's planning to do to her precious online crush, earning a massive sigh of frustration. Baya says she's just checking him out so Zhao Shuer doesn't travel to S-City this weekend and disappear forever. If she goes missing, Baya will be the one stuck calling the police. She's really just looking out for her. But Zhao Shuer just blushes because she can't help it. Her streamer Han is just way too good looking to resist. Plus, knowing Baya for so long, she knows Han is actually 100% Baya's exact type as well. Even though Baya's already taken, you never know. So she just mumbles that she's a grown adult and knows what she's doing. Since Zhao Shuer would clearly rather die than reveal his identity, Baya has to drop the subject for now. Zhao Shuer suddenly asks if she and AZ got into a fight lately since he seems so depressed, but Baya just shakes her head. She claims he's just busy with work. Honestly, when he rejected her date invite the other day, she was already mentally prepared for it. Instead, AZ is the one brooding over it as if she committed some completely unforgivable crime. She lets out a helpless sigh. Right then, Zhao Shuer suddenly gets a wild idea. She reminds Baya about ordering him breakfast. Since AZ refuses to meet up, a devious little plan pops into Zhao Shuer's head. Now watch this twist. She suggests Baya use her business trip to secretly spy on him in his own neighborhood. Baya thinks she's completely lost her mind. If AZ finds out she stalked him without warning, he'll be absolutely furious. Getting scolded makes Zhao Shuer pout. She argues that this is literally how every classic romance drama always starts. The main characters accidentally run into each other in the city. Boom, sparks fly instantly. She just meant Baya could set up a surprise encounter, though showing up right at his front door is way too obvious. Zhao Shuer scratches her head with a nervous laugh, but Baya actually looks quite thoughtful after hearing the advice. The idea actually makes perfect sense to Baya. She doesn't need to confront AZ, as long as she can just see him from afar. Later that night, I finish up my stream and walk out to find Fangzi eating a mountain of skewers. He waves me over to grab a bite. I look at the massive pile of empty sticks he's already polished off in surprise. Didn't you swear off late-night snacks for your fitness goals? You haven't eaten this late in forever. Fangzi just sighs miserably, admitting he knows it's terrible for his diet, but he simply couldn't control himself. Besides, Baya isn't online to play tonight, so he has zero motivation. Everything just feels completely dead. He's eating comfort food to cheer up, but I have to give him a reality check. The whole reason you refused to meet Baya in person was because you wanted to get back in perfect shape first. You're miserable because you can't see her, but eating like this will only make you gain weight. Talk about a vicious cycle. Hearing this, Feng slams his skewer onto the table with a loud smack. You are right, I cannot eat another bite. I need to lose weight. He pushes the plate over to me, staring with pure envy at my toned and muscular physique. It would be a total waste to throw these out. Chen, you take them. You never put on weight anyway, do you? Go ahead, try some. This spot is incredible. Feng flashes a warm smile, but I just shake my head and decline. I actually have a date this weekend. The moment those words leave my mouth, Feng looks absolutely shocked, like he just discovered a new world. He stares at me, dying to know all the gossip. A date this weekend? No way. Chen, you are so sneaky. Since when did you secretly get a girlfriend? You did not even tell me. Am I even your bro? I just laugh and answer calmly. I am not dating anyone. She is not my girlfriend. She is just a regular viewer for my stream who has been super supportive lately. She is visiting S City for a trip this weekend, so I offer to show her the sights and grab some food. Feng hesitates for a second, clearly holding something back, before offering some careful advice. Chen, as your bro, I have to warn you. A lot of these online stream girls already have boyfriends or husbands in the real world. Go have fun, but do not go catch feelings. Hearing that, the smile on my face slowly begins to fade. What is that supposed to mean? Is that really how he sees me? Even if I am not a perfect guy, he is hardly any better. A guy who literally steals my photos to date girls online has zero right to judge me. I just tell him he has it all wrong. That viewer and I are just friends, so there is no way I am catching feelings. I appreciate you looking out for me, so do not worry. Feng sighs in relief, nodding and saying that is good. Chen, you get it. We are bros. I am just looking out for you. But as Feng speaks, he remembers Baya is visiting S City for business this weekend, and he cannot even see her. Just like that, his mood turns incredibly bitter again. I have no desire to be his emotional punching bag tonight, so before he can start complaining, I speak up. I interrupt him, saying I am exhausted from streaming and need to head to bed. Without another word, I walk away. Feng glares at my back with a quiet sneer, thinking to himself, so what if he is slightly better looking than me? Why is he acting so high and mighty? Soon enough, the weekend arrives. I head to the airport, checking the flight number Sister Yu sent over. Suddenly, I hear a nearby girl whispering to her friend, "Is that some famous celebrity standing over there?" Her friend replies that he is probably just some insanely handsome normal guy with a perfect face and model physique. Honestly, with looks like that, he needs to become an actor. Daily life is exhausting, and we deserve some eye candy. Meanwhile, Zhao Shu hitches a ride to the airport with Baya, but they booked entirely different flights. Baya's flight departs 1 hour later, and she has to rush straight to a business meeting right after she lands. Zhao Shu, on the other hand, quickly grabs her boarding pass and rushes to get on her plane. Baya playfully teases her for rushing, saying she warned her not to hitch a ride and will let her miss it next time. Zhou does not care at all, huffing that she is just incredibly nervous about this entire trip. Chatting along the way was supposed to calm my nerves. My plan was perfect, but who knew your flight would be so late? Soon, the plane touches down at S City Airport and begins taxiing. Zhao Shu feels a mix of intense excitement and anxiety. What if he looks totally different in person? What if he is handsome but terrible at talking? What if things get super awkward? I have no idea how to talk to guys. A million frantic thoughts race through her mind as she steps off the plane and heads straight for the arrival's lobby. Checking her phone, she sees another message from me saying I have already arrived and am waiting for her. I tell her I am very easy to spot. Zhao Shu keeps her eyes glued to the crowd, searching for any sign of me. She initially figures it will take forever to pick him out. But watch this, she was completely wrong. This absolute stud stands out instantly, commanding everyone's attention in the lobby. Looking at him, Zhao Shu feels her heart hammering in her chest. Oh my god, my favorite streamer, HN. He is so unbelievably handsome. He was not lying at all. I am doomed, because I think I just fell in love. As Zhao Shu walks over lost in thought, I spot a gorgeous girl heading in my direction. Our eyes meet, so I take the initiative to step forward and ask if she is Sister Yu. Zhao Shu is far too excited to speak, only nodding her head rapidly. After a moment, she clears her throat and introduces herself as Zhou. Since she was hesitating, I teased her and asked if I should call her Miss Zhou, making her wave her hands frantically. "No, don't call me that," she stammered. "It is way too embarrassing. It is fine online, but in real life, even with you, I just cannot handle it because it is too awkward." So instead, I asked her how old she was. I just casually called her Sister Xiao Shu, totally wrecking her calm composure. Her excitement flared right back up. "Oh my god, Action just called me sister. His voice is so beautiful. I am going to pass out." I told her my name, and Xiao Shu smiled, saying it made total sense why my stream handle was Hen. "So you actually have Chen in your name," she laughed. "It is a really beautiful name." Watching her walk beside me like a stiff robot, swinging the same arm and leg forward, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Xiao Shu turned her head, shyly asking what was wrong, so I told her to relax since I am not some wild beast. I promised not to eat her, which made her blush deeply as she kept her head down in embarrassment. You see, she is completely different in person compared to her bold online persona. She blushes just from exchanging a few words with me. How absolutely fascinating. Since Xiao Shu didn't bring any luggage, We skipped the hotel stop, and I asked her if there were any specific spots she wanted to visit. She immediately replied that whatever I planned was perfectly fine with her. I glanced at my watch and noted it was already noon. I suggested grabbing some food first, and her eyes lit up as she eagerly agreed. We hopped in a cab downtown for an epic lunch, and then I took her to explore some of the city's most famous spots. The streets were absolutely packed, and when Xiao's shoe got bumped by the crowd and stumbled, I instinctively reached out to catch her. Feeling my sudden warmth like an electric spark, her cheeks flushed bright red all over again. She kept her head down, avoiding my eyes as she walked, which made me want to tease her. Hey, Sister Xiaoshu, do not keep looking down or you will end up tripping again. With her heart hammering wildly in her chest, she stammered out that she was totally fine and to not worry. But deep down, she was crying tears of pure despair, thinking her perfect image in front of Chen was completely ruined. Would he think she was just a stuttering mess? By 4 p.m., seeing that Xiaoshu was looking a bit exhausted, I suggested she head back to her hotel to rest so we could explore more tomorrow. She quickly agreed, saying she would see me tomorrow, so I thoughtfully ordered a ride to pick her up. I waited by the curb until her car completely vanished from view before turning to walk home. Meanwhile, Xiaoshu was giggling like a fool in the back seat, thinking about how much fun she had with Chen today. Meeting him made her so incredibly happy, and she couldn't get over how handsome and sweet he was. Today felt so magical, almost like they had already been together for a very long time. Baya's flight was originally scheduled for 1 p.m., but a delay pushed her arrival back to past 2 in the afternoon. Her business meeting ran all the way until 4 p.m., wrapping up smoothly with a successfully signed contract. She checked her watch, and with some unexpected free time, Xiaoshu's earlier words suddenly popped right into her head. And of course, she is absolutely burning with curiosity to see what he actually looks like. Baya was a total woman of action, so once she made up her mind, she moved. Skipping a dinner invitation from her partners, she took a cab straight to Chen's neighborhood, immediately spotting a very familiar silhouette. Her heart instantly leaped into her throat, forcing her to instinctively duck behind some nearby bushes. As she hid, the man ahead seemed to sense her gaze and slowly turned around. Seeing my face, her heart raced like crazy. Oh my god, he is way too handsome and completely her ideal type, looking 100 times better than his photos. Meanwhile, I felt this strange sensation of being watched, but when I turned around, the street was empty. Shrugging it off, I continued heading toward my apartment entrance while Baya finally let out a massive sigh of relief. Just seeing me completely melted away all the bitterness she felt when I had previously refused to meet her. She even started making excuses for me, thinking it was her own fault and that she simply wasn't good enough yet. Perhaps if she was more proactive and sweet, keeping him happy, he would finally agree to a real date. Of course, I noticed someone hiding behind that tree, and if I am not mistaken, it is my other online girlfriend. Men or women, everyone is just superficial, but this little surprise encounter has made me pretty curious about her. When Baya finally sees Fangzi's real face, what kind of expression will she make? It is going to be absolutely spectacular, and I do not have to lift a finger. Just waiting quietly is enough. When I got back home, Fangzi was lazily watching television on the couch. He seemed pretty surprised to see me home so early and immediately started asking questions. Hey, Chen, weren't you meeting that girl from your stream? Why are you back so soon? Don't tell me you two already got into a fight. To be honest, Fangzi was probably secretly hoping I would end up staying the night. He just lacked the courage to say it to my face. Ignoring his nasty little comments, I casually told him we did not fight at all. She is incredibly nice, and honestly, she feels more like a close friend my own age than some older sister. It was an instant connection. But we walked so much today that she got pretty tired, so she headed back to her hotel to get some rest. We actually made plans to hit the amusement park tomorrow. Hearing this, Fangzi stared at me with pure disbelief, his eyes practically dripping with jealousy. He never expected us to hit it off so perfectly. Seeing me make a real connection made him incredibly envious. Unable to help himself, Fangzi sneered and asked if a girl hanging out with me already has a boyfriend. He asked if her partner was truly fine with this. Hearing that, I hesitated and kept quiet. Seeing my silence, Fangzi was secretly thrilled, though he still put on a fake look of concern and warned me to ask her about it. He advised me to cut ties immediately if she has a partner, warning me that a jealous boyfriend could easily ruin my streaming channel. Asking if that would be a total nightmare, his face completely lit up with schadenfreude as he spoke. He was laughing inside, thinking I was completely doomed, but you and I both know he is about to get a massive reality check. Meeting Fangzi's gaze, I just smiled. Calm and collected, I thanked him for the heads up. Fangzi waved his hand dismissively, pretending to be a loyal friend, telling me there was no need to thank him since we are brothers. He claimed it was his duty to warn me, but I calmly added that she is actually completely single. I explained that I wanted to respect her privacy at first, but decided to speak up so he would not get the wrong idea about my friend. Right on cue, the smile on Fangzi's face completely froze. Quickly composing himself, he whispered, asking if she was rich but had a really plain face. His words carried a heavy dose of pure, toxic malice. It was obvious he had always been deeply jealous of me. Seeing me succeed where he struggled clearly brought out his inner darkness. Honestly, that is pretty typical behavior for him. But his petty jealousy will not stop my plans. After thinking for a second, I told him not to say that, because to me, she is quite pretty. Hearing that, Fangzi was absolutely convinced I was just trying to cover for her. He gave a sarcastic scoff, saying he got it, and that my friend was the absolute prettiest, before flopping back down on his couch. Meanwhile, Zhao Shuer was back at her hotel, hugging her blanket and giggling like a shy girl with a massive schoolyard crush. Suddenly, her phone on the nightstand started buzzing. She reluctantly crawled out of bed to answer, seeing Baya's name on the screen and asking what she wanted so late. Baya asked if she was staying at the Sheraton Hotel, and Zhao Shuer confirmed that she had just finished checking in. Sounding like she was in a great mood, Baya suggested they head out to grab some late-night snacks together. 10 minutes later, the two of them met up in the lobby. Before Baya could even speak, Zhao Shuer immediately started waving her hands. She insisted that she was not visiting any bars tonight because she had major plans tomorrow. Baya raised an eyebrow, wondering what business she could possibly have. Zhao Shuer proudly revealed she was hitting the amusement park with her favorite streamer. You can just feel the excitement radiating off her. Pure, uncontrollable joy. Baya suddenly remembered her friend had traveled all this way just for a streamer, asking if she had not already met him earlier today. Tilting her head up with absolute pride, Zhao Shuer boasted about how they had an incredible time together. Because of that, they decided to spend the whole next day at the amusement park, asking Baya if she had an issue with it. Staring at her completely lovesick expression, Baya rolled her eyes. Shaking her head, she warned her friend to be extremely careful. She told her not to get scammed, but Zhao Shuer confidently brushed it off, claiming she was far too sharp to ever get tricked. According to her, even without any of his stream filters, Chen is actually way more handsome in real life. Seeing her friend so smitten, Baya could only laugh, realizing Zhao Shuer would probably happily hand over anything, just out of sheer excitement anyway. Hearing her friend laugh, Zhao Shuer got a bit annoyed and immediately shot back, asking if Baya had managed to see brother-in-law Chen yet. She then slapped her forehead in mock realization, sarcastically claiming that her memory was slipping. Teasing that she forgot her brother-in-law Chen had refused to meet up, she prompted Baya to sigh and ask why she had to be so petty. Baya admitted that while Chen did not want to meet her directly, she still saw him. Hearing this, Zhao Shuer instantly dropped her teasing attitude. Zhao Shu grabbed Baya's arm, shaking it eagerly. "Sis, I was totally wrong. I was just talking nonsense. Tell me all the details. How did you actually manage to see brother-in-law Aziz? Is he handsome?" Hearing those rapid-fire questions, Baya playfully pushed her away in fake disgust and dragged her into the elevator. Once inside her executive suite, she immediately used the room landline to make a call. Zhao Shu poured half a glass of wine, took a small sip, and whispered, "Sis, I am just having a tiny sip." Baya was swirling her wine glass in a great mood. "Even if you are unreliable, your plan was pretty good. I visited Aziz's neighborhood. Originally, I just wanted to watch him from a distance. Then what? Stop keeping me in suspense." Baya smiled. She tilted her head back and sipped her drink, saying leisurely, "I got lucky. I caught a quick glimpse of him right when he turned his head. He really is even more handsome than in his pictures." Hearing Baya's praise, Zhao Shu's interest piqued. She nudged her arm. "Seriously, let me take a quick peek at brother-in-law Ziz's photo." Baya playfully pushed her away. "No way. You will see him when we meet up eventually." Zhao Shu pouted so stingy. She was not truly disappointed. It was just curiosity acting up, but she knew her boundaries. After all, he was literally her best friend's boyfriend. Besides, my heart and eyes are completely full of my Chen right now. Even if brother-in-law Aziz is super handsome, so what? He definitely can't be more handsome than Chen. So they just clinked their wine glasses together. Zhao Shu's lips curled up slightly as she happily remarked, "I actually really like S-City. This city is great." "Me too." Baya nodded in agreement. The business negotiations today went incredibly smoothly, and I even got to see Aziz. What a pleasant surprise. S-City really is a wonderful place. But here's the wild twist, neither knew they were chasing the exact same man. The next day, Baya flew back to B-City, while Zhao Shu dressed up meticulously. She even stood right in front of the mirror and changed outfits 4 times before finally taking a cab to the amusement park. We had agreed to meet right in front of the flower beds at the main plaza. From a distance, she spotted a very handsome figure. As she got closer, she saw me standing there in a sporty outfit. My peach blossom eyes curved slightly as I looked at her. Zhao Shu simply couldn't take her eyes off me, her heart racing uncontrollably once again. I called out, waving my hand, Sister Zhao Shu, over here, over here. She finally snapped back to reality. She lowered her head shyly and apologized for making me wait, but I just smiled and shook my head, saying I just got here too. To be honest, I didn't care about amusement parks. It was mainly because I heard Zhao Shu hadn't been to this one in S City, so I decided to tag along. I even went ahead and bought fast passes for all the rides. This meant we didn't have to wait in lines. We started with the relaxing, low-intensity rides first, saving the massive roller coaster for last. It wasn't until we got on that roller coaster and plummeted from the highest peak that Zhao Shu absolutely couldn't hold back her wild screams. Right after, she felt pretty embarrassed. But the very next second, I held her hand, looking at her with real concern. Zhao Shu only heard one phrase, "Don't be afraid, I am here." At that moment, the coaster's thrill was nothing compared to the impact of those words. He actually worried about me and held my hand. Oh my God, I am so touched. Zhao Shu felt her heart completely melt away. My favorite streamer really is an absolute angel. After finishing all the rides, we watched the vibrant float parade and the spectacular evening fireworks show. Once it ended, right before she got into her car, she tentatively asked, "Hey, Chen, can I come visit S City again?" I nodded, saying of course. Hearing this, Zhao Shu's lips curled up involuntarily. But the very next second, I said I had a great time with you. Sister Zhao Shu, you're just like a real older sister to me. When are you visiting next? There was absolutely zero romantic affection in my eyes. Talk about a brutal friend zone. Right. Zhao Shu finally realized she overlooked the biggest detail. Chen wasn't into her type at all. Whatever, she knew you just can't force feelings and decided to head back. Meanwhile, I got back to my college dorm quite late on that night. Feng spotted me right as I walked through the door, dragging out his words, "You are back so late. I thought you were staying out." I shook my head, snapping back in a heavier tone, "She and I are just regular friends. Hosting her was my only goal while she visited S City. It is that simple." Feng noticed my clear annoyance and laughed awkwardly. "I did not mean anything. I just think that streamer lady is young and pretty. Such a high-quality girl. You should definitely try to make her your girlfriend." Not wanting to dwell on it, I just nodded. But then I noticed Feng wasn't groaning like usual today. He actually looked quite radiant. So I asked him out of pure curiosity, "Did something awesome happen today? Because you look incredibly happy." Hearing that, Fengji let out a massive sigh of relief before flashing a goofy grin and asking if it was really that obvious. He thought Baya would be furious after his rejection, but she actually reached out to apologize. She claimed she was just in a bad mood for the last 2 days, which is why she ignored his messages. On top of that, she knows he loves fitness, so she bought him custom sneakers that are arriving tomorrow. Listening to Fungi boast, I raised an eyebrow. This girl was really spending some serious cash to trap him. Clearly, she was deeply hooked on my face. I smirked, but my eyes stayed dead cold as I told him I was happy for him. I added that Baya must really adore him, but Fengji was far too hyped to notice any of my sarcasm. Kicks, that is all he cared about. His shiny new sneakers arriving tomorrow. Once he finished bragging, Fengji gave me a knowing look, advising me to lock down that amazing girl who always watches my live streams. He said top-tier women are rare nowadays. I just nodded along, agreeing that he was totally right. Then I praised his Baya for running her own company, causing Fungi to pretend to be humble while secretly gloating even more. He dismissed it, saying her wealthy family just threw money at her startup. He never expected her business to actually succeed, and bringing up her name completely unlocked his endless rambling mode. Right then, I casually dropped a bomb. Since Baya is so beautiful and rich, she must have endless guys chasing her, right? Fungi's smile instantly froze. He mumbled that she had way too many admirers, and his deep insecurity came rushing right back. Using his own logic against him, I told him a spectacular girl like her would not stay single forever. Rivals everywhere. He needed to meet her face to face and lock it down. After all, online romance is fragile, and those words struck Fungi right where it hurt the most. Let's be real, hiding behind my stolen photos was a ticking time bomb, and Fungi knew it. He panicked, muttering to himself that he absolutely had to meet her in person right away. Over the next several days, Shuer showed up to my live streams right on time, constantly sending virtual gifts to support me. My chat started teasing her, calling her the absolute most loyal supporter of our stream. Shuer smiled and typed back that she simply loved hearing Hen sing, and she was just showing some casual appreciation. The fans went wild in the comments, spamming that my singing voice was literally bringing them to tears. I simply ignored the teasing, keeping things strictly professional by never taking our conversations to private messages. But one evening, right as Shuer was opening my broadcast, an incoming call suddenly cut her off. She almost ignored it until she saw Baya's name on the screen, prompting her to pick up and hear her friend's sleepy voice asking if she was free. Baya asked for a ride, making Shuer frown and ask if she was drunk, to which Baya explained she was hosting a massive business dinner. The stubborn client refused to sign any contracts unless they drank together until they were completely wasted. No choice, she had to sign that contract. Despite her high tolerance, drinking the client under the table left her feeling completely miserable, so she desperately called her best friend. Shuer promised she would be right over, but first she quickly sent me a message saying she had an urgent situation. She told me she would miss the broadcast, then threw on her coat and rushed out the door immediately. 15 minutes later, she successfully loaded a swaying Baya into the passenger seat outside the restaurant. Baya claimed she was only slightly buzzed, but she was stumbling all over the place despite her eyes looking somewhat sober. Shuer warned her to take it easy during these work dinners since destroying her body for business was not worth it. She practically begged Baya not to throw up in her freshly washed car, complaining the moment they hit the road. Baya smirked and teased that she would simply buy her an entire car wash business tomorrow so she could clean it whenever she wanted. Shuer laughed it off as a joke, telling her she was being dramatic while secretly laughing at how wild her friend was. Only a deeply intoxicated wealthy friend would casually offer to purchase a car wash over a minor complaint. Midway through the ride, Baya's phone began ringing, and Shuer watched her frantically dig through her belongings while stopped at a red light. Found it. Shuer pointed right at the bag resting on Baya's left side. By now, the heavy drinking had caught up with Baya, making her look utterly exhausted as she fumbled and nearly dropped the phone. Letting out a heavy sigh, she handed it over, asking Shuer to take the call for her. "Looks like I am just destined to be your beast of burden," she jokes right as a call from A comes in. "Hey, brother-in-law." A pauses on the other end before speaking. "Oh, it is Miss You. Are you with Baya right now? She said she had a business dinner tonight. I was a bit worried about her." Joe Shu nods repeatedly. "Do not worry, brother-in-law. I have already picked her up." A sighs. "Okay, I am glad to hear that. Drive safe on your way back. Bye." Hanging up, Joe Shu casually drops the phone into the center console cup holder. She turns to Baya and says, "Sis, that was brother-in-law on the phone. He was just calling to check up on you. I promised him I would get you home safely." Man, it must be nice having someone care about you so much. Wrapping up her rant, she realizes Baya has already fallen asleep, leaning quietly against the car window. By the time they reach the estate, Baya looks slightly better. The family butler sees his mistress arrive and quickly steps up to support her. He asks with concern, "Miss Joe Shu, what happened to our lady?" "Uncle Shang, it is nothing serious. She just had a business dinner and drank a little too much. Let us quickly get her inside so she can rest." Watching Baya being supported by the old butler, Joe Shu finally breathes a sigh of relief and gets ready to head home. "Miss, please drink some hangover soup." Uncle Shang has the kitchen whip it up and delivers it right to her bedroom. Baya drinks down half the bowl, finally feeling like she is coming back to life. As the alcohol buzz wears off, she tries to unlock her phone. She is about to send a message, but she gets a surprising notification. The password she entered is incorrect. Frowning, she inputs the code again, but it fails. Wait, she suddenly freezes with a realization. This is not her phone. It looks exactly like Joe Shu's. Then she glances at the lock screen and sees a photo of a sunny, cheerful man. Baya instantly grows highly suspicious. Why on earth is a photo of her husband, set as Joe Shu's wallpaper? Talk about an awkward discovery. The butler calls out Miss Baya. "Miss Joe Shu is back. She says she accidentally swapped phones with you." Before she can even respond, an impatient Joe Shu bursts through the door, moving with ridiculous speed. She snatches her own device back and shoves Baya's real phone into her hands. "If brother-in-law A had not called me again, I would have never realized my mistake." Joe Shu pats her chest, feeling incredibly lucky. "Thank goodness I was only halfway home." Then, she asks suspiciously, "Sis, you did not sneak a peek at my phone, did you?" Baya answers instantly without hesitation. "Your phone is locked. How could I possibly look at it?" She actually wants to ask about her husband's photo, but before she can, Joe Shu is already waving her hand dismissively, saying it is getting late and she must head back. She is trying to catch her favorite streamer's live broadcast. Watching Joe Shu's retreating figure hurry off, Baya just shakes her head. It seems that recent meetup did not dampen her fan enthusiasm at all. Instead, she is somehow even more obsessed now. Is live streaming really that interesting? Driven by a sudden, inexplicable curiosity, Baya decides to open up the streaming app herself. And wouldn't you know it, the very first broadcast the algorithm pushes to her feed belongs to Chen. Before she can even see his face clearly, a beautifully warm singing voice echoes from the phone. He is performing a massive viral hit. The man on the screen smiles warmly, revealing a charming pair of little canine teeth. His gorgeous eyes give off a fresh, sunny vibe. Right then, he notices a new account join his live broadcast. He greets them with his usual bright energy. Welcome to the stream, Yaya. This is a singing channel. Just one heart or ticket is all it takes to request a song. But right after saying that, he realizes the user has already disconnected. He doesn't think much of it, but 3 seconds later, Yaya enters the stream again. This time, he doesn't call her out. Instead, he is busy smiling and chatting with an older fan in the comments who asks him to sing a song called Secret. He grins charmingly and responds, "Sure thing, that is a brand new track. Let me go ahead and cue it up." Baya is completely sober now. Staring at that sunny, handsome face on her screen, she freezes. Can you even imagine the shock? She is absolutely certain she did not mistake him. Slowly, her gaze shifts to his streaming name, Chen. That name sounds familiar. Joe Shu's favorite online streamer definitely has the word Chen in his name. Could such an insane coincidence actually be real? She picks up her personal phone and types out a text. "Hey, what are you doing?" He replies almost instantly, "Just finished washing up, lying in bed scrolling through my phone. Getting ready to sleep soon. You drank tonight, yeah, so make sure to get some sleep early so you do not wake up with a massive headache tomorrow." Staring at those sweet, caring words on her screen, Baya blinks slowly. Her long lashes completely hide whatever she is feeling right now. "Okay, got it. Good night and sweet dreams," she replies. Switching back to the live stream, the host is already singing his next song. For the very first time, she opened up the gifting menu. Prompted by some weird urge, she sent him a gift. When it popped up, I didn't ignore it just because it was a cheap little gift. Instead, I smiled and thanked her. "Thank you, Yaya, for the popularity ticket and the little heart. If you want to hear a song, just type it in." Baya couldn't quite explain the strange feeling washing over her. She just kept typing away in the comments section. Seeing her reply, I paused for a second before telling the room that next, I'll sing a song I've been really loving lately. It's the track Miss You requested, called As You Wish. Hope you guys enjoy it. As my singing echoed out, Baya froze the moment she heard him mention Miss You. Now she was absolutely certain this was the exact streamer that scumbag Feng was pretending to be. Her lock screen photo didn't lie. As for why his face was identical to AZ's photos, she only had two logical guesses. First, maybe AZ lied to her and is actually this streamer, keeping his job secret for privacy. Second, AZ sent her completely fake photos. So the guy in her chats is actually this random streamer. But check this out, just as she's spacing out, her phone suddenly vibrated. The bottom of the stream screen was instantly flooded with massive Azure Dragon gifs. Miss You typed that she luckily made it, with only 5 minutes left before I go offline. The other fans quickly chimed in, teasingly asking Miss You why she was so late tonight. They told her Hin just finished singing her favorite song, As You Wish, praising her for dropping 10 dragons instantly. She really is the ultimate dragon tamer. Miss You replied in shock, asking if she truly missed it. My laughing voice rang out through the stream, telling Miss You not to cry because I'll sing it again. It will be the absolute perfect song to end the stream. Meanwhile, Bias silently stared at the screen, seeing exactly how that scumbag behaves online. Before she knew it, the song ended, and I announced to the chat that it was time to sign off. So Baya asked in the chat what time I would stream tomorrow, making me smile at her. I stream every night from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. See you tomorrow, Yaya. After saying that, I said my goodbyes to the chat one by one, finally waving at the camera to tell Miss You see you tomorrow. As the live stream ended notification popped up, Baya stood up and walked over to the window. She pulled back the curtains, staring up at the bright moon hanging in the night sky, completely lost in her own thoughts. Back on my end, I leaned back in my chair. Honestly, the very second that user named Yaya entered the room, I already knew her real identity. Honestly, I didn't expect Baya to be this sharp. She caught on to the truth incredibly fast. I can't wait to see what she does to Feng when she learns the truth. Trust me, this drama is about to explode. Suddenly, a knock sounded at my door, followed by Feng asking if I was asleep and could chat. I bluntly told him I was exhausted. My instant rejection caught him completely off guard. Standing outside my door, Feng froze in utter disbelief. Right then, his phone buzzed with a brand new WeChat message from Baya, asking why he was still awake. He smirked, thinking she must be losing sleep over him. Just like that, all his lingering anxiety completely melted away. Feng eagerly opened up the chat, only to find a single sentence asking to meet up this weekend. Reading those words, Feng felt his heart leap straight into his throat. Why was Bias suddenly pushing to meet up? Did she discover his secret? Panicking, he quickly replied that he was actually heading back to his hometown this weekend. He claimed he had urgent family business to handle. He knew the excuse was weak, but stalling for time was his only option. To his surprise, she messaged back immediately, asking if everything was okay and offering to go with him. Feng panicked. He quickly typed out that it was just a minor issue, and since he hadn't been home lately, it was a good time to visit. Baya just told him to let her know if he needed anything, allowing Feng to finally relax. Though his racing heart slowed, he knew he couldn't dodge her forever. Just as Hin warned, online relationships can only go so far. If they never met in person, there was a high chance someone in the real world would steal her away. The very next morning, I was getting ready for my daily jog. But the second I stepped into the living room, I found Feng fully dressed and waiting. Surprised to see him, I noted he was up incredibly early. Spotting the dark circles under his eyes, he forced a weak smile. He admitted he couldn't sleep a wink and sat on the couch all night. I casually asked if something bad had happened. Treating me like a total lifeline, Feng spilled everything about Baya wanting to meet up. He explained his panic, then tried to psych himself up. He declared he would meet her next month at the latest, desperately asking if he needed to shed some weight immediately. I just waved my hand and told him we could go jogging together. Once we actually reached the park, Feng surprisingly did not keep his eyes glued to his phone. He ran half a lap and stopped. Gasping for air, I did 5 kilometers. Feng barely managed to finish. On our walk back, he praised me, saying I was quite something. Sticking to a daily run is tough. He mentioned he had always been pretty weak since he was a kid. His parents kept saying he needed way more nourishment, so they basically just stuffed him until he got pretty fat. I smiled, remembering how poor my family was. I crossed mountains just to reach school, so running was never just standard exercise for me. Feng looked at me, pretty curious. If it is not exercise, then what is it? My eyes darkened. It is to remember the struggle so I never live like that again. Feng was completely stunned. I always had this intense, strange obsession with making money. And honestly, it makes complete sense. If you lived through that kind of hell, would you ever want to go back? Right before starting my stream that night, a message popped up from Joe Shui. He got dragged to a family birthday banquet. He could not come support me. I told him not to worry at all. Real life always comes first. At exactly 8 p.m., I launched my live stream wearing a brand new traditional shirt. Fans flooded the chat instantly. Hen, you look incredibly handsome tonight, like an elegant young master from a wealthy family. My heart skipped a beat. I smiled, reading out their names to thank them. I thanked them for the love. Yes, the shirt is new and looks quite sharp. Do you want the link? You can just take a quick screenshot to search for it. Come on, guys. I am a singer, not a shopping streamer. A new account suddenly joined. I warmly welcomed Yaya to the live stream. You asked for my schedule yesterday, and I thought you were joking. I really did not expect you to show up and listen. To thank you, Yaya, for keeping your promise, you get to request a song. What would you like to hear? A slight smile touched my lips, my eyes filled with quiet anticipation. Yaya herself did not quite understand why she opened the app again. She told herself she only wanted to confirm Hen's real identity, not watch him. His voice was slightly clearer than Hen's other profile, but still different. Seeing Yaya hesitate to reply, I chimed in again. Are you browsing the song list? Take your time, there is absolutely no rush. Then I welcomed everyone, letting the viewers know that sending just one little heart or a single popularity ticket is enough to request any song. Suddenly, Yaya sent 10 little hearts. I acted quite surprised and thanked her for the gifts. I asked what song she wanted. Right then, a high-level 41 user named I Love French Fries joined the stream. He asked if I was new. I politely welcomed him and said I was not. I have been broadcasting for nearly a year. He commented that I was pretty handsome, wondering why my room was so empty. He mocked the rule, asking if sending a balloon meant I would have to sing until my voice went hoarse. I could easily feel his disdain. I smiled slightly and responded very calmly. To make sure everyone gets a fair experience, regardless of the gift size, each viewer can only request a maximum of 3 songs. Even with pricey gifts, the limit remains 3. He sneered, saying he might as well just send 3 cheap little hearts instead. Seeing his rude tone, my chat quickly stepped in. Trust me, my fans do not let that slide. Another fan pointed out that even when Miss You sent a whole dragon, Hen still only sang 1 song. He sneered, asking what kind of fool would waste that much money. He was absolutely convinced my entire chat was just filled with fake accounts. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly saw a message from Yaya asking about the dragon. I Love French Fries saw she was only a level 5 user and immediately started laughing at her for asking about sending a dragon. Stop pretending to be rich. If you are not broke, then send one right now. Apparently, you have to unlock level 60 to send it, and he claimed he wouldn't waste money on a basic streamer anyway. Seeing the stream about to devolve into a major fight, I stepped in immediately. I thanked Yaya again for the hearts, asking what she wanted to hear, before addressing I Love French Fries. You can listen, but start a fight and my mods will kick you out. I love French fries suddenly sent a hot air balloon, demanding that I sing a song which was clearly meant to mock Yaya. My fans suspected he was mocking her. Honestly, I quickly caught on to his toxic vibe, too. I tactfully noted songs are performed in order. Yaya, have you decided what you want to hear? I love French fries sarcastically mocked her, saying 10 tiny hearts were all it took for her to become the top donator. Behind her screen, Baya had never been talked to like that in her life. Once she figured out the app, she sent a massive flower gift, instantly shooting her level past 30 and leaving everyone speechless. No way. Yaya is a total powerhouse, basically making her our brand new queen right behind Miss U. She is the one I respect most. But did you see that? I love French fries. I snapped back to reality and smiled. Thank you, Sister Yaya, for the flower. You are incredibly generous and mighty, making our auction look so cute. Just one tiny flower turned Yaya into Sister Yaya, and French fries was totally regretting his loudmouth attitude now. She could easily afford a flower even if a dragon was too much, while he could technically send one too. But doing that would completely wipe out his monthly allowance, and her next 6 words dared him to make a move. Pure provocation. French fries simply could not swallow that kind of disrespect, gritting his teeth in sheer anger. At worst, he would blow his entire allowance on this stream, but there was no way he was backing down tonight. Why bow to her? Fuming with rage, he immediately dropped 10 flowers into the chat. Now look at this chaos. This ego clash between 2 heavy hitters sparked an absolute war of screen effects, sending the fans into a frenzy. Oh my god, just last week I complained about dragon effects, but now I am going to get sick of these flowers before I even level up. The hype spread fast, bringing in crowds of random viewers from other channels to witness this absolute chaos. What is happening here? Hundreds of flowers dropping in 5 minutes. These guys are loaded. People kept inviting others to watch, but seeing the crowd gather, I love French fries bragged that he could easily afford the flex. Did she see that? His triumph lasted only a few fleeting seconds. Boom! The flower effect exploded on screen again as Yaya dropped even more, spending massive cash like it was absolutely nothing. The entire chat went wild with shock, while I love French fries found himself completely backed into a corner. He checked his bank balance only to find it completely drained, while Baya calmly read the chaotic live chat. She laughed softly, mocking his weak wallet, wondering how someone with so little strength actually had the nerve to challenge her. Her single word dared him to continue, but French fries stayed completely silent, forcing me to speak up. I thanked both Sister Yaya and I love French fries for the incredible gifts, calling them the true bosses of my channel. After I thanked them, the chat exploded with hype, with everyone shouting about how incredibly cool Sister Yaya was. Fans joked that Miss U must be crying in the bathroom after missing one night and letting Aiken find a new wealthy supporter. Some warned to keep the peace since both girls supported me, while others simply wanted to watch the chat burn. The chat mocked him mercilessly, wondering if he suddenly ran off because his bank account was completely broke. Seconds later, he was gone. I love French fries quietly exited, absolutely fuming with embarrassment. He wondered if that girl was crazy for throwing cash around like it was nothing, thinking she should share some of that wealth. Why waste it on an average streamer? There was just no way he could compete with that level of wealth anyway. And just like that, the stream finally calmed down and became peaceful again. While everyone showered Yaya with support, Baya herself had never really understood why people tip streamers. But right now, she finally felt that sweet thrill of being the top donator as she looked at the screen where I gently asked for her request. Hurry and pick one. But Baya did not really have a favorite track. After thinking it over, she asked if I could perform Misty Rain Django, and before I could even reply, the chat went wild. Fans shouted that Akin could sing it, noting the coincidence since Miss U had joined Akin's stream because of that very same song. Realizing the connection, Baya scrolled through the enthusiastic fan comments, finally starting to understand the community inside the stream. Right then, the gentle intro music started playing, and my deep, magnetic voice flowed through her headphones. She had to admit, the guy on her screen actually had some serious talent, and his vocals were incredibly smooth. It sounded even better than the official track, and as Baya quietly listened to the melody, she began browsing through the stream's gift menu. Finding some of the gift names pretty and interesting, she decided to send them over, one after another. Thank you, Sister Yaya, for the castle, the carriage, and the massive spaceship. I raised my hands to make a big heart over my head and shot her a playful wink, making Baya blush instantly. Looking away shyly, she typed that I was welcome and sang well, so I smiled and asked if she wanted to hear another tune. You still have 2 left, Baya noted, before suddenly asking a pretty strange question. She asked if he had any elders at home. Immediately, the whole chat went wild, wondering if Baya was starting a background check. Was this some new way to meet the parents? Seeing the crazy chat, Baya quickly added, "Never mind. That was way too personal. You don't have to answer." I just forced a smile and replied honestly, "It is fine." Really? All my elders are still around. On her end, Baya watched the downcast streamer on her screen and decided not to push. Instead, she just asked him to sing 2 songs he liked. She wasn't picky. I smiled and agreed to sing a song called "Warming Up to You Little by Little" for everyone. The song ended. Baya asked if I had a music degree since I sang so beautifully. I told Baya I graduated from S University's music department, making her hesitate. Wait, here is where it gets crazy. She remembered AZ majoring in music at S University too. Are they really the same guy? She asked what I did in my free time and if I played games. I just shook my head, telling her I had no idea how to play them. At most, I just play some mini games to kill time. Gaming really isn't my thing. Baya froze, then she just left. My face stayed normal as I continued with the broadcast. For the next 2 days, Zhao logged on as usual to support me and send gifts, but Baya never showed up again. Meanwhile, Zhao heard from other fans that a pretty rich female supporter had recently appeared. Hearing that made her pretty annoyed. Why did this new girl send flowers? What kind of supporter is that? I send multiple legendary dragon gifts every single time, so how can she compare? Then Friday came, and I got a call from home. "Jiang, your grandmother is sick. Come home." I immediately asked if it was serious. My mother said she was hospitalized, so I should just come visit. She would be extremely happy to see me. And with that, she hung up. Silence. My expression went dark as Fong walked out of his room to get water. Holding his cup, he noticed my troubled look and asked what was wrong. "Why do you look so awful?" I sighed, explaining my grandmother was sick and I had to head home this weekend. Just watch his face. Fong was thrilled. Talk about a total godsend for him. He could claim he had business back home, and if he took some real photos there, it would look way more convincing. So he eagerly asked if it was serious, claiming he was completely free this weekend too. He offered to tag along for company, but looking at his eager face, I politely told him there was no need. Too many relatives. I did not want to trouble him, but Fong simply refused to back down. Instead, he acted super caring, saying we were friends and Baya had already transferred a ton of cash to him anyway. He even offered cash for medical bills. Seeing him act so proactive, I did not refuse. When the weekend came, AZ didn't log on to play any games since he went to visit his sick grandmother. Xingqian didn't stream either, leaving an update stating he had some urgent family matters to handle. During a girls' hangout with Baya, Zhao kept staring at her phone. A friend noticed and curiously asked if she was secretly dating someone. "No way." Zhao immediately waved her hands and denied having a boyfriend. She told them to stop, claiming she didn't have a boyfriend, but Baya suddenly teased her in a playful tone. She recently fell for a male streamer and is actively chasing him, making the other girls' eyes light up with excitement. She eagerly asked for his name to check out his stream, noting their senior always had incredibly high standards. Any streamer she liked had to be handsome. Zhao quickly yelled at them to shut up, calling them brats. "This is my private business, so don't try to find out who he is until he's officially my boyfriend." Seeing her rare, serious expression, the other girls finally quieted down. One girl suddenly turned to Baya, asking if she was still talking to that guy she met online and when they would finally meet in person. The others chimed in, asking when she would bring him around. Baya set down her cup and softly replied that he was busy this weekend. His grandmother is sick. Zhao had been quietly drinking her coffee, but hearing this, she immediately froze because brother-in-law AZ's grandmother was sick too. What a massive coincidence. My idol's grandmother is also sick right now. Is there some kind of epidemic among the elderly? Looking at Zhao's completely bewildered expression, Baya was certain she knew nothing about the link between Ace and Xingqian, so she just replied carelessly, "Maybe it is the season change, so it is possible." Right then, Joshua's phone pinged with a message from Hen, who sent over a wide-angle shot of a hospital bed. "Don't worry. Grandma's surgery went well, and I am staying with her tonight." When Joshua opened it, Baya glanced over and caught a glimpse of that photo, the exact same one from this afternoon. Talk about a plot twist. The bed numbers match, meaning Xingqian and Ace are the exact same person, playing both girls. Instantly, she froze. Baya felt deep down that something was not quite right here. She analyzed the situation. Even though they are both guys, Xingqian has a much deeper, more magnetic voice than Ace. The only absolute certainty was that Xingqian and Ace definitely knew each other in the real world. Then another thought hit her. Proving their actual identities would actually be incredibly easy. Normally, when fans throw massive gifts during a stream, the creator will add their WeChat to keep them close. So the fastest way was to add Xingqian on WeChat and ask to meet up offline, but Baya felt torn. What if they are actually two completely different people? If so, how was she supposed to face him? Did she like his cheerful personality or his handsome face? If it was just his personality, why was she so angry? Baya felt totally lost. Still, she unlocked her phone anyway and sent him a friend request. Shockingly, he accepted a minute later, calling her sister Yaya alongside a cute waving sticker. Baya frowned. That sticker was the exact same one Ace always sent when they were chatting. This was absolute proof they were incredibly close, otherwise they would not be using the exact same stickers. She did not rush to text back. Instead, she tapped his profile picture to browse through his feed. Unlike Ace, who only shared simple nature scenery, Chen's feed was extremely vibrant and full of life. Tons of selfies. Beyond all the scenery shots, her finger suddenly froze on a stack of his selfies. There it was, the exact photo Ace sent. See her finger hover right over that delete friend button? She hesitated, but ultimately pulled her hand away. Baya kept telling herself, I am Ace's girlfriend, and this guy is just Chen. He is Joshua's crush. He is definitely not my Ace. She had to stop getting messy with him. But right during her struggle, a brand new message popped up from him. He shared some massive news. His cover of the game's theme song caught the attention of the official team. They formally invited him to attend the player convention this weekend in B City. Since she was in B City too, he offered to treat her to dinner. Baya paused before typing her response. She replied that work was super busy, and they would see. He understood and told her to get some sleep. Good night, Sister Yaya. The next day, logging into Ganhu World 3, she found an invitation in her inbox. As the leader of the top guild, she was officially invited. Meanwhile, the guild chat was absolutely exploding because the convention was being held in B City this time around. One member offered to buy everyone dinner, but someone immediately replied in sadness. Wu Yan was being super generous, but one poor player had a blind date. Another happily chimed in that they lived close. They were hyped to finally hang out in real life, asking who else from the guild lived in B City. Besides them, their boss Baya lived there too. The chat quickly caught on, asking if the leader was going. Knowing she was a busy entrepreneur, they doubted she had time, but Baya promised she would definitely be there. The chat cheered. Suddenly, someone asked if Ace was going too, hoping their absolute favorite ship would finally meet. Feng froze. He stared blankly at the guild messages scrolling by, completely silent as he read everything. He really never expected the game developers to actually organize an official convention. Meeting Baya here seemed perfect, especially with the guild crew around to keep the atmosphere super fun and easygoing. But even after waking up early to jog every single day, he only lost 2 or 3 pounds. He looked exactly the same. Though highly tempted, he carefully typed back that his grandmother had not fully recovered yet. He probably could not make it. Everyone understood, agreeing that family always comes first and they could easily meet up some other time. They cheerfully told their favorite brother-in-law they would catch him next time. That night, after finishing their daily guild quests, Fangzi wanted to ask Baya to explore the game world together, but Baya claimed she had some things to handle tonight. No choice. Fangzi had to finish his quests completely alone. Meanwhile, the supposedly busy Baya slipped right back into Xing's stream, but this time, she completely lost track of time and ran straight into Zhao. Welcome to the stream, Sister Yaya. The rest of the fans quickly joined in, shouting welcomes and celebrating the lucky day. Is this the first time Miss Yu and Sister Yaya are in the same chat? Zhao muttered that the name Yaya sounded pretty familiar, wondering who she was. She wondered why she had never seen her, but fans explained Yaya is the high roller gifting massive dragons daily. Miss Yu, this really is your first face-to-face. But wait a second. Does your name have some kind of special meaning? It resembles someone I know. Hearing that, Baya's heart nearly skipped a beat. But she remembered that Zhao was not exactly the sharpest tool in the shed, so she quickly made up a simple excuse about having Ya in her real name. So she just goes by Yaya. Zhao figured she was just overthinking things, allowing Baya to let out a massive sigh of relief. And right here, guys, is where I dropped a massive announcement on the chat. Listen to this. I got invited by Ganhu World 3 to perform their theme song as a guest star, and the chat instantly went wild with supportive congratulations. Wow, our streamer is hitting the big leagues. Are they paying you for this? Reading the comments, I smiled and confirmed that there is a fee. It is not huge, but it is official. Plus, flights and hotels are totally covered. I have never visited B City before, so I will treat this like a nice little vacation. By the way, is Miss Yu from B City? Yes, I am a local. I will definitely introduce you to my guild members when you arrive. Then a curious fan asked which guild Miss Yu belonged to in Ganhu World 3, saying her name might give it away. She revealed she is the vice leader of the server's top guild, making the entire chat instantly explode with shock. No one expected this wealthy stream supporter to be such a high-ranking powerhouse in Game 2. Someone joked that if Sister Yaya had not explained her name, they would have assumed she was connected to that same guild. Seeing that, Baya panicked so hard that she immediately booted the user. Ever since she became my top supporter, I had made her a chat mod. While having her help run the chat was usually great, Baya immediately regretted making such a sudden move. Was that way too obvious? Will Zhao suspect her now? But she quickly realized she was worrying over nothing because Zhao was not paying any attention to her moderator actions. Zhao was busy playing tour guide, hyping up all the best food spots in Beast City. Before wrapping up, I sang the theme song once more and announced my upcoming break. I am heading to the player convention this weekend, so there will not be any streams. Once the broadcast wrapped up, I grabbed a glass of water, unable to wipe the smug grin off my face. It was honestly hilarious hearing Baya lie through her teeth with a straight face about her name. She does not even notice how she is getting totally hooked on my stream. At this rate, my plan is going to succeed very soon. I took a very satisfying sip of water, but then I saw Fangzi slouched on the couch, looking pretty stressed out again. He looked completely desperate, like a patient finding his therapist. I quickly finished my water and cut straight to the chase. Bud, I will be out of town this weekend because I got invited to an event. Fangzi blinked, asking what kind of event. Believe it or not, it is actually an official gathering for that game you love, Jianghu World 3. The developers want me to perform live as their special guest and sing the official theme song. They are covering my flights and hotel, and they are even paying me a solid performance fee. Hearing those words, all the color instantly drained from Fangzi's face. Both Baya and Miss Yu had just mentioned they were attending. If Xing goes there to perform, his massive web of lies will completely shatter. He absolutely could not let that happen. Panicking, he blurted out that I cannot go. I lightly patted his shoulder, pretending to be completely baffled by his reaction. Why not? Chill out. Man, why are you getting so worked up? Fangzi finally realized he was being way too obvious. He desperately begged me not to go, but I looked him straight in the eyes and firmly shook my head. No can do. I already signed the contract and they booked my flight. With a look of pure desperation, Fangzi offered to cover everything himself. He promised to pay for all the cancellation fees and even match their guest appearance fee double out of pocket. I burst out laughing so hard that Fangzi began to completely panic. I pointed out how incredibly weird he was acting, making his entire body tense up as he realized his slip-up. He had spoken in pure panic, and now he could only stammer that he had his reasons but could not explain. He begged me to promise him, and I just stared at his pathetic, cowardly face. Just a little bit of pressure, and he's already falling apart. If he's this weak, how was he so smug when he used my photo to catfish Baya? I answered him slowly, not a chance. I already promised one of my top stream VIPs in Beast City that she could be my tour guide. Since I refused to budge, Fangzi could only stomp back to his room and sulk. He gave me the silent treatment for 2 or 3 days, but I didn't care. By Friday afternoon, I had my bags packed for Beast City. Then Fangzi rolled out his suitcase too, wearing a creepy, fake smile, and said he was heading to the convention as well. He suggested we travel together for company. I had no idea what he was scheming, but I just nodded and went along with it. We took a cab to the airport, but the whole way there, Fangzi kept making up dumb excuses to delay our check-in. Once we passed security, you won't believe his next desperate move. He claimed he left something outside, begging me to go back out with him. I saw right through it. I casually asked him why he didn't want me at the convention. Was he seriously that afraid of running into Baya? Fangzi choked up, panicking that I knew his secret. But then I quickly gave him some false reassurance. I told him I know how to keep my distance from a roommate's girlfriend, so I completely ignore her and act like we're total strangers. Hearing that, Fangzi finally let out a massive sigh of relief, though he was still visibly sweating from anxiety. He actually considered sending Baya a real photo of himself before the event started, hoping she might forgive him, but his cowardice won out. Just like that, our plane landed, and the big event was finally about to kick off. Fangzi was still drowning in silent panic, especially since Baya hadn't sent him a single text the entire time. But instead of being upset, he was incredibly relieved. Every message from her would have just buried him in guilt. Meanwhile, Baya had decided not to attend the convention with Chao Shur. For some reason, she subconsciously wanted to run into her beloved Xing Chan alone, so she lingered by the entrance after signing in. She waited patiently until she spotted a yellow cab pulling up near the venue. The first person to step out was a stunningly handsome, striking guy with a curly-haired man trailing right behind him. Look at this, she actually spotted them. Baya's heart raced, thinking she was finally looking at her handsome online boyfriend, Az. Staring at Az's real face for the very first time, Baya felt a sudden, heavy wave of sadness wash over her. With a soft sigh, she followed us. Meanwhile, Fang Ji and I paid the driver and headed toward the registration desk. We walked right up to register, handed over our photo IDs, and the staff started passing us our exclusive gaming gift bags. Then, a sweet voice called out from behind us, "Is that really you?" There stood Baya, smiling warmly. We both turned. Fang Ji opened his mouth to answer, but froze when Baya suddenly wrapped her arms tightly around my arm. He went completely stiff. He wanted to scream and pull her away, but his legs simply refused to move. He panicked if he stepped in now. He'd have to admit he'd been catfishing her with my pictures the entire time. There was absolutely no way he could confess his lies right here. So he stood there, forced to watch in absolute agony as Baya clung to my arm. Acting completely confused, I quickly frowned and shook her off. I demanded to know who she was, telling her I didn't know her and asking why she was grabbing me. Before she could answer, Fang Zi frantically grabbed my shirt and dragged me off to the side. Avoiding her eyes while choking on his own jealousy, he begged me to pretend to be Az. I put on a perfectly confused face. I asked who she even was, and he nervously whispered that it was Baya, claiming she somehow just mistook me for him. Even now, this coward refused to admit he had been using my pictures to date her online. I sneered and turned to leave, casually telling him that if she made a mistake, he should just go clear it up. Fang Ji frantically shook his head, absolute terror and panic twisting his face. As I started walking, he finally broke down and confessed he had sent her my photo when he wasn't thinking clearly. "Now Baya thinks you are me. Please, I'm so sorry. Can you just keep pretending to be me?" I scoffed, finally realizing this was the exact reason he had tried so hard to stop me from attending. "Fang Ji, did you ever actually consider me your friend? We were roommates in college and have lived together since graduating. Is this really how you treat me?" He pressed his hands together, desperately begging for forgiveness, pleading with me to save him and cover for his massive lie just this once. "Once this convention is over, I promise I will explain everything to Baya." Seeing him so ashamed that he could not even look me in the eye, I decided not to push him, especially since Baya, who was standing over there, seemed to be getting a little impatient. I nodded and agreed, "Fine, I will do it." A huge weight temporarily lifted off Fang Zi's chest. He quickly thanked me over and over before the two of us walked back to where we were. Baya blinked innocently, her gaze sweeping over the two of us. Before she whispered an apology, she was so sorry. Did she get the wrong person just now? This was actually a perfect opportunity for Fang Zi. If he had just stepped up and admitted his mistake right then, maybe all their misunderstandings would have vanished. But Fang Zi did not do that. He just introduced himself as Az's good friend, Xiaoun, claiming that Az was just mad earlier. Baya asked in total confusion, mad at her? Why would he be mad at her? Meeting Fang Zi's pleading eyes, I smirked and asked Baya directly, "Shouldn't I be mad? How long has it been since you replied to my messages?" Baya immediately looked guilty, explaining that to make it to the convention, she had to cram all her work into the last few days. She was so incredibly wrong. "Now look at this." She grabbed my arm, begging for forgiveness, while Fang Zi stood there, his heart absolutely bleeding. As the three of us walked toward the event hall, Fang Zi watched Baya patiently explaining things to me, his soul filled with bitterness. Just then, someone called out from behind. It was Xiao Shou from the guild, asking how Baya knew who she was. Since this was their first meeting, Xiao Shou rubbed her head sheepishly. She had heard me call Baya's name earlier. She figured in all of Jianghu World 3, there is only one player named Baya. So, it had to be her boss. Her gaze landed on my face, and she excitedly asked if this handsome guy must be their legendary Az. Xiao Shou kept gushing about how we were a match made in heaven, while Fang Zi stood on the sidelines, his face turning green. He was probably thinking, I am standing right here too. Why is Xiao Shou completely ignoring me just because this guy is handsome? Never did he expect her cluelessness in the game to translate to the exact same low EQ in real life. Seriously, so low. She finally noticed Fang Zi, asking if he was in their guild too, and what his unfamiliar ID was. Fang Zi froze, not knowing how to answer. I shot him a glance and smoothed things over, saying he was my friend Xiaoong. Since he did not play, she laughed and welcomed him anyway, saying anyone who came was a friend. Fang Zi was suffering in absolute silence, only able to nod in extreme frustration at her words. When we finally walked over to the players' table and sat down, everyone's eyes immediately locked onto Baya, greeting their boss. Oh my god, Az is so handsome, our boss is seriously lucky. Listening to the guild members' enthusiastic greetings, Fang Zi felt like he was sitting on pins and needles. He poked me and leaned in to whisper in my ear. He urged me to find an excuse to leave right after my performance, but Baya shot me a concerned look from across the table. She asked if everything was okay. I smiled and waved it off, explaining that I actually had another role here today. I was invited by the developers as a guest performer and would be going on stage in just a bit. The crowd looked completely surprised, saying how amazing Az was and asking why I did not mention this in the chat. Then someone proudly replied that they were all idiots, asking if they even knew what it meant to keep a low profile. Someone as outstanding as their Az definitely had to be humble and keep a low profile. Otherwise, what if another guild snatched him away? Facing all these compliments, I just smiled and said absolutely nothing. Fangzi clenched his fist, secretly grinding his teeth, knowing all of this legendary treatment should have been his. If he had known, he never would have come to this player convention. But wait, if he had not come, what if Baya met the real Az? The truth would be exposed even sooner. Thank goodness he came. Not long after the event started, I headed backstage to get changed and get my makeup done, preparing to go on stage. When the stage lights dimmed and lit up again, a handsome figure slowly rose up on the elevator. You should have seen their faces. Everyone was amazed by how handsome he was, a literal one-to-one recreation. While people praised the developers, Fangzi stared blankly at me on stage, completely stunned to see me dressed as a pharmacist. Since his in-game class was a pharmacist, why was I wearing his character's exact outfit? He turned to look at Baya, desperate to see her reaction, only to find that even she was staring intently at me on stage, making him feel even worse. Why was Baya watching so intently? If he had known, he would have just told her the truth from the start. Even if everyone else rolled their eyes, she would still look at me with that gentle gaze. But standing on this stage, what right did I even have? Honestly, I did not care what Fangzi was thinking. As the background music softly began, a gorgeous singing voice echoed all through the venue. Someone in the audience gasped in surprise. Is that Misty Ray Marshall World? The developers really went all out for this. I honestly thought they just hired a pro to cosplay. Nobody expected him to perform the theme song. And honestly, this male cover sounds way better than the original official version. Really? I did not even notice. I was completely mesmerized by his face. He is way too handsome. I barely paid attention to his lyrics. As the performance wrapped up, thunderous applause suddenly erupted from the entire crowd. Walking off stage, I headed back to my table. My guildmates immediately crowded around, showering me with endless praise. Ace, you are incredible. Ace, your voice is amazing. Fangzi listened from the sidelines, feeling totally bitter yet somehow satisfied. No matter how amazing Akin is, he is still using my account. People who do not know the truth will just assume I am some god-tier player. Telling himself this made him feel a lot better. Baya's eyes were full of warmth, and the way she looked at me changed completely. Fangzi immediately noticed this, stepping forward to block her view of me. He turned to me and asked Chen, "Did you not say you had to leave early for some urgent business?" Seeing Fangzi's desperate, pleading eyes, I slowly nodded. Baya let out a soft smile and asked Chen, "Where are you heading off to?" She offered me a ride. But check this out, ever since Baya's slip earlier, she never called me Ace again. Instead, she followed Fangzi's lead, calling me Chen. Now that is incredibly interesting. Fangzi was too panicked to notice. No need, he blurted out we already called a taxi, but thanks anyway. Baya did not push it. She simply escorted the two of us to the front door, watching closely as we climbed into our cab and drove off. Meanwhile, another car pulled up outside. Stepping inside, Chao Shu easily located her guild's table by the number, and everyone welcomed her with open arms. Sister Yan, you are gorgeous in real life. Seriously, you are not inferior to our guild leader at all. But one of them sighed with deep regret. What a shame, Ace just left, and the guild leader even walked him out. You missed out, Sister Shu. Ace was incredible tonight. He is insanely handsome and can actually sing. Chao Shu sat down, grabbing a tissue to wipe her sweating forehead. Thank goodness she made it, though she had no idea who the busybody was. The jerk had snitched to her dad, forcing her to sneak out. Now, not only was the convention half over when she arrived, but worst of all, she did not even get to hear Chen sing or lay eyes on her favorite idol. She swore to make that miserable snitch pay the moment she got home. Frustrated, Chao Shu groaned in absolute defeat. Why was she so unlucky? Meanwhile, after parting ways with Fangzi, I had to turn back because I left my bags behind. Just as I reached the front desk, I overheard Chao Shu speaking inside, asking her sister if she was here too. She explained she got held up by family drama, but missing his epic performance made her absolutely furious. I instantly froze in my tracks. Instead of walking in, I waited outside the door to hear how Baya would reply. Baya told her that her beloved idol Chen was actually Ace. Hearing this outside the door, I completely froze. The truth was finally out. Chao Shu gasped in utter shock, demanding to know what she meant and who Fangzi was. She explained that Fangzi was actually Akin's roommate, who had been using his photos to catfish her from day one. Everything was a lie. but Baya already knew and chose not to expose him. Hearing this, Chao Shu was completely speechless. She asked why Baya kept dating him if she knew, and here is where it hurts. Baya smiled bitterly, saying she eventually met the real Akin. The realization hit her hard. She never liked Fangzi. Outside the door, a wave of complex emotions hit me. Taking a very deep breath, I pushed the door open and stepped inside. Baya spun around, her eyes instantly tearing up. "Achin, you?" I nodded. "I heard everything." I asked if she was willing to give us both a real chance. Not as Fangzi's stand-in, but as myself, Achin, to love her for the rest of our lives. With teary eyes, Baya nodded, saying she was absolutely willing and had been waiting for those words for a very long time. Chao Shu stood nearby watching us, then glanced toward the entrance. Fangzi had quietly appeared at the doorway, looking completely lost. He clutched a bouquet of sunflowers, too terrified to even step inside. I glared at him, telling him to get in here. I demanded he explain everything to Baya. Fangzi walked in, bowing deeply as he apologized to Baya, Chao Shu, and me. He admitted he was the catfish who used my photos to date her online. It was his sheer vanity, using someone else's face to find love, and his own bitter jealousy of a kin that made him act like a total jerk. Fangzi confesses that he is the one who almost ruined their lives, apologizing deeply. He does not expect forgiveness, promising to only be himself from now on. He vows never to steal another person's spotlight again, leaving the entire room dead silent for 3 whole seconds. Zhao Shu steps forward to comfort him, saying she does not blame him at all because without him, Him would never have stepped up. He would not have made it this far with her sister, so she is actually pretty grateful to him instead. Then Achin turns to Zhao Shu, offering a deep, sincere apology alongside a very big thank you for everything. He thanks her for standing by him over the past year, promising to remember her loyalty for the rest of his life. Zhao Shu just waves her hand, warning him not to get too mushy and telling him he better treat her sister right. If he ever dares to mistreat her, she will be the first to step in. Achin nods, then walks over to hold Baya's hand. He proudly declares that he is officially her boyfriend now. He promises to confess to her on his next stream, making sure his entire fanbase and the whole world knows she is his only one. Baya throws herself into his arms, crying that she feels the exact same way as loud applause erupts all around them. Watching them, Zhao Shu quietly wipes away a tear before raising her phone to snap a beautiful group photo. Now fast forward 1 month, they are hosting their engagement party when Fangzi suddenly shows up carrying a huge bouquet of sunflowers. Right in front of everyone, he sincerely thanks Achin and Baya. He thanks them for letting him start fresh, and Baya steps forward to accept the bright flowers with a smile. She tells him she holds no grudges because without his mistake, she would never have met the love of her life. She gently warns him to stop deceiving people. Meanwhile, Grandma sits beside Achin, holding his hand while proudly praising him for finally figuring things out. Grandma whispers that she loves Baya for being pretty and incredibly sweet. She tells them to build a great life, teasing that she is ready for great grandchildren, making Baya blush. Baya shyly promises they will try. Zhao Shu steps up to offer her blessings with a lovely bouquet. She hopes she will find a guy who looks at her with total adoration, just like Achin looks at Baya. They hug and promise to be best friends forever as the party wraps up with laughter. Later, as they wave goodbye to the final guests, Baya rests her head on Achin's shoulder and softly thanks him. She admits she has no idea what kind of mess her life would be without him, so he holds her hand and gently kisses her forehead. The breeze is gentle, the stars are incredibly bright, and the night in S City is absolutely gorgeous, and Achin has finally found the one to walk through life with. As for Fangzi, they actually continue living together as roommates, but from that day forward, he never uses his photos. He hits the gym, learns how to dress well, and works hard to become a better person. A year later, he even meets an amazing girl. Drinking a bit that night, he emotionally thanks Achin and calls him his brother. Achin just smiles, giving his shoulder a warm pat. Everything is finally going to be fine. Even Zhao Shu finds a guy whose eyes are full of her. He absolutely dotes on her, peeling her favorite fruit and taking every single word she says straight to heart. Meanwhile, Achin keeps singing on his streams. His amazing cover song gets officially picked up by the game developers, easily crossing 100 million views. Now, those massive royalty checks arrive in his account every single month. Baya keeps growing her startup, playfully promising that she will personally sponsor every single one of his future live streams. He happily agrees to the lifelong partnership. Soon after, Grandma starts coming over to stay with them for a few days at a time. Every single visit, Baya and Achin lovingly listen to her tell endless embarrassing childhood stories. She always brags that Achin is the best singer around, and he just laughs, calling her the absolute best listener in the entire world. And as for Baya, the girl who stood by him through everything, she remains his ultimate favorite blessing in this life.